Hello, you're welcome to the Billionaire Journey podcast. I hope you are doing good today. So, you might have heard a lot of tech layoffs happening in this year. Meta, formerly Facebook, Google, Amazon, Spotify, a whole lot of them actually. There's some of them that you might not have heard, but a lot of tech, companies are laying off their staff. And why is this happening? So, according to Facebook, for instance, or Meta, whatever you want to call it, but Meta is the new name right now, says that a lot of advertisers are cutting off, their advertising costs. And because of, I think the reason this is happening is because of the situation in the world right now, like the global recession and all of that. So a lot of people are cutting off their advertising budget, and because of that, Meta lay off about 11,000 staff. This is crazy. It means that 11,000 people have lost their job. And not just that, for example, if you combine that with Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, you see a lot of people are losing their jobs right now. And that takes me back to the question I always ask myself whenever I'm working on something, or whenever I'm telling people about creating a side hustle. And it is this: what will happen if your boss comes to you tomorrow or today and says you're fired? What will happen to you? Good luck. Uh, it's a rather unfortunate, that these things are actually happening. I don't pray that anybody loses his or her job, but these things are meant to happen anyways, right? So, what will happen if you wake up tomorrow and your job is lost? And that is why in our previous episode we talked about investing. It's very important that you invest not just in knowledge, because investing in knowledge is very, very important, right? You'll be able to gather knowledge. Like listening to this podcast, for example, is an investment on your part. You're listening to something valuable that is going to change or transform your life. But that is not all. You have to also invest in things like stock market, crypto. Of course, crypto is going down in some aspect. You have to just be careful. There's no investment that is not risky. It's just that some are riskier than others. And that is why one of my mentors, Bayo Dinka, would say that don't invest in the things that you have not investigated. And it's very important, right? But what I'm even talking about right now is that if you are working for a company or whatever kind of job that you are at, make sure that you have a side hustle. Now, imagine these people who are losing their job and then they're not able to get another job for some time. What will happen to them? What will happen to their finances? I read a couple of posts by some people who lost their job, on LinkedIn, and I almost cried for them, because the way they were sharing the stories was quite emotional. So have a side hustle. It's very important. If you want to start a podcast, for instance, this is a side hustle. It might not pay you immediately, but if you have a job, and you probably get home and you work 9 to 5, you get home and evening you can record your podcast and publish it. And who knows, by the time your podcast gets very popular, people will start advertising and you can start monetizing your podcast. You could write a book, right? Write a book while you are at your job. You could write a book and sell on Amazon, for instance. And another thing you could do is create a course. Let's say you are a programmer, you could create a course on how to program and start selling it. Basically, it's starting a new hustle. And it's very, very important that we all do that. And that is why you see all these billionaires and millionaires, um, there's no billionaire that today that has only one source of income. Like, look at Elon Musk. He has Tesla. He has what is he again? He has SpaceX, and now he has Twitter to himself. And he also has the Boring Company. Look at Bill Gates. He's making a lot of money from Microsoft. LinkedIn is also making a lot of money from investing in other businesses. He's also making a lot of money from what again does he do? Yeah, he sells books. He has some books he has published and is selling as well. So it's important, right, that you have a side hustle. Look, don't depend on just one source of income. It's going to be crazy, man. It's going to be crazy. And for those who have lost their job, really, I empathize with you. I don't sympathize with you because I believe that you're going to come out of it, powerfully. You're going to overcome. It's going to overcome this session. It's just a season in your life, and every one of us have our own ups and downs. And I'm sure that Mark Zuckerberg, you know, Google and every other platforms there that are laying off uh, their staff, they're not doing so like joyfully. It's not like they really want to do this, but it's something that they can't just do without, because they too want their own companies to grow. Just we are listening to the billionaire podcast, right? As a billionaire, you also want your company to grow, and you will do everything possible to ensure that your business continue to be successful. So this is just what we're trying to discuss about the tech layoffs that is happening. Please and please, even if you are in tech or you are not in tech, even if you're not in tech, please do well to get a side hustle. It's very important. Think about it and do it. I hope that you got something from this podcast today. Please do well to go to thebillionairejourney.com, and subscribe to our newsletter. By the way, we had an amazing episode yesterday, which is how to create a podcast and make money from it. Perhaps this could be an answer prayer to you who have been, praying to learn how to create a podcast. We created a step-by-step, episode, which was yesterday, the 10th episode of this podcast, on how you can create a podcast as well. I hope you do go and listen to this podcast, and I look forward to hearing your feedback. If you're on social media, just post something about this podcast that you were listening to. If you have gotten something from this podcast one way or the other, please go on social media and share about it. Not just that, use the hashtag the Billionaire Journey Podcast. And I look forward to hearing from you and to sharing what you have for us on social media. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of the Billionaire Journey Podcast. Please go to thebillionairejourney.com and subscribe. Look forward to seeing you some other time. Bye.